What's up, everyone? We're super excited to actually have this live stream. I think is one of the first post Denver. So actually, a lot of things are happening, and we're always excited to bring not just the agent builders into the space and in this conversation, but also really like deeping down in the ecosystem from kind of like the builder stack around agents, but also different ecosystem stack like cross-chain interoperability. And we will still talk about not just cross-chain interoperability, but also like arbitrage code today. So welcome everybody to this agent intelligence, and we're exploring everything around AI agency Web3. I'm Francesco, and I'm also a contributor of MotherDAO. I'm excited to bring you some special guests every time. So welcome, Kevin, to this show, and I'm super excited. I think we are one of the first guests we are interviewing from Australia. It's actually cool to have this crazy time zone difference. So welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you. You want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I was looking forward to this one specifically. Yeah, I'm Kevin Coutinho. I'm the founder of Layer 1X, which is an interoperability protocol that I built 3.5 years ago, as a PhD project of mine from the University of Western Australia. And, we are probably one of the only layer ones in Oceania. And maybe that's why, the first person from Australia to be on your show. But thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to
This
this.
is so cool. No, this is a pleasure. This is a pleasure. I think actually, it's cool actually to see you build a layer one. I think one of the first kind of like founder in Australia on the layer one side. But I think the world is so decentralized that people actually like sometimes are losing kind of like the how to say the yeah the coolness of like being a decentralized founder. And I assume also your team is a little bit like around the globe too. But let's get it started. Like you touch, I think like we met also each other around this kind of like AI agent kind of angle. You want to touch a little bit like what was kind of like the main pain point, how everything started, why building an agent around this kind of arbitrage trading, and then we deep dive a little bit more on the cross-chain protocol side.
Yeah, no, I think, first one is I'd like to mention that for any, I probably represent 98 to 99% of Web3 projects, where you follow a traditional strategy of community building, you launch your protocol. And one of the most important thing was the tokenomics. And we have
Yeah.
innovated the tokenomic space by introducing something called as a release pool. And what the release pool does is it allows you to go and stake your coins into the release staking pool, which automatically
Mhm.
calculates the demand that you have of your coin across centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges, and only sells them when there is a net demand coming in. Now, this actually is
Mhm.
for the initial token holders, including investors, bonus coin operators, node operators, and it also prioritizes based on how much you contribute to the protocol and to the community. For example, investors getting the
Mhm.
first right to sell their coins, and this is where we decided to build a cross-chain bot where it would actually just trade L1X across the
This is so
dexes
cool.
and the centralized exchanges. But then taking it a step further, because we have a launchpad also building with us, we wanted to actually allow this piece of technology to be integrated with the release pool, where projects can make use of cross-chain bots, right? Cross-chain arbitrage through bots. And that's
Yes,
where we decided,
this is a good point.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's that's where we decided, let's take it a step further, and not only for layer 1x coin, but why don't we use it for multiple different coins, where the projects itself
Mhm.
can configure what coins they want to cross chain our bot, including their coin, and make it as a product, using the cross
Nice.
chain protocol that we built.
Nice. Actually, this is a good point because I feel like cross-chain is such a like an undervalued infrastructure piece around the ecosystem, especially because everybody's kind of building their own kind of like siloed niche, and for builders, it's kind of like difficult. And I want to kind of like dive into. I think you mentioned one of the biggest gap was this kind of like infra around cross-chain interoperability. Are other gaps that you see around the ecosystem for builders today? It could be around their agents, but also around infra devs.
Yeah, I think one of the two things to this. So the first one is Layer 1x is building a quick plug and play product to take your token and go onto multiple network, right? But at the same time, I think, having your token on multiple network and being multi-chain are two different things, right? So the first one is we
Mhm.
want to enable projects to go on multiple network to access, decentralized exchange liquidity, user base, and enable them to partner up with the other guys. But the second one, and I think this would be the first time actually I'm mentioning this, is we are going to start working with the
Nice,
University of Western Australia to enable
nice,
a multi-chain, cross-chain, quantum-based layer one infrastructure. And what
nice.
I mean by that is, today you see multiple layer twos rolling up into Ethereum, but the future that we envision is not only a single layer one being used for roll up. All the layer ones that are technically savvy, which can be used for transactions and state storage, should be used as a cross chain, multi-chain roll up layer. But at the same time, I also tend to believe that having quantum proof strategy across all the layer ones would not be feasible. So integrating quantum proof state management into a roll up mechanism would be one of the strategy that we can take up, for the future. And that's where, currently the infrastructure, of course, it's rolled out. We've got transactions processing, but the upgrade
Mhm.
to the infrastructure, is what we think would be from a multi-chain roll up where there would be a quantum anchor to the cross-chain mechanism. And that's where we are going to start working with the University of Western Australia again, to
Nice.
build
This
that.
is good.
Yeah.
I love like these alphas on stream, right? Those are really cool, and I think like research is never enough, especially when you partner up with a bigger university. Do you feel what are kind of the main use case that you see kind of like encountering right now around this cross-chain like protocol, apart like could be agent builders from different ecosystem? Like what are the main use case and vertical that you see?
Yeah, I think first one definitely is being able to take your token and going multi-chain. The second one I think is something like a sandbox builder where can go and deploy on one infrastructure, and it automatically deploys it for you on multiple different networks. And at the same time,
Mhm.
it uses the validators autonomously, automatically, where it decides, okay, this is a layer one, we can go and deploy that upon. And at the same time, if you think about it, we are indexing strategies where you can bring data from web3, web2 into web3, and you can run multiple AI based models onto it. It could be all the way from reinforcement models, it could be from GNN models. All these types of activities
Nice,
have to be integrated into web3 for the smart contracts to be able to use that. And that's where I kind of feel that abstraction could be one major use case, where some kind of AI models and account abstraction can come together to enable
nice,
multiple investment strategies. Or it could be even, for example, government based projects that spam detection or all these sorts of things, right? Strengthening your digital ID on
Mhm.
the system. So I do see automatic models being built, but at the same time digital ID could be one another thing where AI based models could help bring data from, it could facilitate that, okay, right now is the time to bring data from web 2 to web 3 and start using AI models, where digital ID would be one of the things that kick off from something like that, because not a lot of people are
Nice,
interested
nice.
in bringing data into web 3.
Agree. Agree. Like, I mean, specific to those use case, like what are kind of like the things? I mean, I'm just trying to understand. So basically you're mentioning like, the top kind of verticals. Like, do you see like any kind of like main challenges around kind of like builders today around cross-chain dApps that you solve first with Layer 1x, but also on the API side? I know that you also like super passionate about screen sharing specific things. You also can show us a little bit how this is working, but mostly like I'm interested to see how builders can actually leverage this, right? If you have some kind of like repo directory, because bunch of like AI agent builders too, they have this kind of like a challenge around, I don't want to build around one specific
chain.
kind of siloed ecosystem. Exactly. I want to actually build for interoperability. And the other kind of like question that I have is around AI agent coordination. But let's start from the first part around show us what and how builders can leverage your protocol on that
Yeah.
side for agent building and different ones.
Yeah, I think I can show you two things, right? One is for the end user and one is for
Mhm,
developers. But just quickly before I go through that, I'd like to mention that, when we talk about interoperability, we like to use the word bridgeless because if you look at,
mhm,
bridge infrastructure, you've got your adapter, relay, your, token and logic contract, all of them sitting on all the different chains. And what we like to believe is only the state changes should be happening on these chains. If you actually want to build a multi-chain application, imagine you having your logic spread out across 10 different chains. So it does make it more
mhm,
expensive, more complex, when you try to use a bridge to do all these things. Now what we have done is we have solved that problem by you only having to have your asset contract on these specific chains, and you can actually have your logic contract sitting on layer 1x, because Layer 1x comes in built with an Oracle system and a cross chain relayer that
mhm.
allows you to go from one network to the other. And we've implemented this in the swaps as
Nice.
well. So, users can use our swap infrastructure to go from one network to the other. But even the developers can do it. And probably I'll just share my screen and show you both of them. Yeah.
Please.
Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah, it would be awesome actually if you share some
Yeah.
screen that you are
Can
seeing.
you see my screen?
Nice. Yes,
Yeah.
perfectly.
Perfect. So at the moment, what you see over here is l1xapp.com. So if you just go to l1xapp.com, you'll be greeted with this home screen, and you can click on the swap. This specific thing that you see over here, you can go from one specific network to the other ones that we created. So you could swap across all these networks where Bitcoin and Tron is coming up, by the end of this week, and even want to connect your wallet, right? So let's say you're swapping from a cold wallet, you
Mhm.
don't want to connect your wallet, you can swap without connecting the wallet. So basically, what happens over here is, once you select your source and destination, you just have to put in your destination and source wallet address where you're sending the funds from, where you want the funds, along with your fund details, which is what network to what network.
Yep.
It generates a wallet address for you. You deposit the money in there, and at the back our xtalk infrastructure actually does the cross chain swap for you. So this is done completely bridgeless. This has no adapter or relayer contracts on the source or destination network. This is directly integrating with the token contract. At the same time, we
Mhm.
have the development gitbook. So our source code is open sourced. We have the SDK available for you. So if as a developer you want to look at the developer interface, you can go through all this,
Nice. This is very cool.
flowcharts here. Yeah,
Yep.
we also have a Miro board for L1X architecture. But at the same time, if you just want to go in and build a multi-chain application, we have created like a first instance, like how can you build your EVM to EVM or EVM to non-EVM message passing contract. Each and everything has been given over here one by one. And if you just want to use the swap, we have the APIs as well available, where um, you can use our API straight away, in doing the direct swap. So this uses the direct swap infrastructure. So if you have a DApp where you want to accept certain currency and send certain currency, you can just integrate these APIs. And these APIs are also very soon going to support 35 plus networks, including Bitcoin and Tron, where as I mentioned previously, you don't even have to connect your wallet, right? So each and everything is mentioned here. We have a holistic developer toolkit where you can build, because we support two types of VM. So we have our proprietary
Yes.
WebAssembly to RBPF system which we built. Plus you can even use Solidity if you wanted to. And we have natively integrated into Hardhat. So all the developers, probably 80% plus, are using Hardhat today for EVM. So you can go in and deploy your first contract on L1X using Hardhat as well. So the documentation is pretty holistic. And if you probably just go to l1xapp.com and go to the developer section at the
Mhm.
bottom over here, you will see each and
Yes.
every
Yes.
hyperlinks available. So you have the Git book, you have the audit report, you have a hackathon. So currently we are running, a $2 million hackathon for AI agents. So you can build
That's
multiple
nice.
different things. So AI driven security auditing, you've got DeFi trading strategies, you've got cross-chain interoperability stuff that you can build. And it's very easy. You can just sign up over here. It's a Google form. If you click this, Google form will open up.
Mhm.
You can sign up and our team will get in touch with you. So we are promoting, AI plus Web3 on L1X. That's the theme we have taken for the hackathon, and we would love to see some AI use cases on our cross-chain infrastructure.
This is nice. Do you want to kind of like mention? I really like when I put like a wish list of kind of use case, like especially for this hackathon specifically, right? Like I'm sure like different builders are hearing us right now. Any specific like wish around use case on those agents? Because I can actually like touch a little bit on we run like the reason why kind of like Modder exists is because we don't want to kind of like revive what DeFi summer was, that everybody was forking dexes, right? Same with
Yeah,
agents. That everybody will forking agent, and we're seeing already happening right now. That's why like we said we want to build this kind of like public on-chain attestation registry and giving fully social graphs to agents, right? So that's why kind of like mine kind of like use case back in the days that we say this is something that we are building and we are really building it. But it's really to bring a kind of like um, lowering out this chaos and defend really the rights for AI agent consumer to actually get a better know-how which agent actually is performing and which agent had actually a track record. Like, and now kind of like back to you is like, are there any specific use case that you wish that you didn't see around that people are actually building in this specific hackathon? And by the way, shout out to you guys because this amount of prize with this tech stack is really is a really difficult activation to build. And well done there.
thanks for that.
Hats off to you guys for doing this.
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that we would love to see is around decentralized identity. So if you go to l1xapp.com, there is
Mm-hmm.
something called as NFT tiers over here. These NFT tiers basically allow is a soul bound NFT, and whenever you mint an NFT, it gets attached to your account, right? And every time you
Yep.
interact with L1X app features, for example, right now it's the swap, you get certain points. But that being said, we actually even have the ability to bring on something called as space cards. So what we want to do is
Mm.
bring data from web 2 into web 3. So if you go to applications, you will be able to bring on data from, let's say, your Discord, LinkedIn, and there are multiple other applications coming up as well. What this is going to do is, think about it this way, where you have your NFT associated with your account, but then you can bring in data and multiple different wallets under
Mm-hmm.
that same NFT and start giving access to things from that specific NFT itself, right? So how do you start building your credibility on web3 to a specific NFT that understands multi-chain assets? Is not just a web2 application, it's a web3 contract that is deployed for you for your specific NFT. So we would love to see
Nice.
something like the yeah, something like around a digital ID being built, where people use these NFTs. These are contracts available on the chain. People use these NFTs and certain something like space cards, where you can go in and start bringing in data from web 2 and start integrating it as an application. So we would love to see some use case from there. It could be id
Mm.
id
That's
id
cool.
credit system. It could be creating financial credit system. It could be so many different things, because yeah,
Nice.
you could bring in your web3 data from multiple different accounts, verifying that it's you, and build up your id specifically to do this
Yes.
multi-chain NFT. So that's something we are excited to see.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Credit, yeah, I think credit scoring, on-chain rewards. I mean, for on the MetaMask side, one thing that I'm super excited is with the MetaMask card, we can actually have this on-chain withdraw kind of side. So you can actually build a much more transparent and incentivize rewards around the on-chain activity. So that's actually super cool when people actually start spending on-chain. So it's kind of attributed to a specific activity. of the address. And since it's kind of like on chain, we are able to actually see, okay, this is how you spend, this is the rewards. So it's actually much more seamless. Um, kind of out I would say withdraw around your USDC on Linea, for example. Yeah, sounds good. What are you showing there?
So
Oh, you seeing the
yeah, so
pairs? Yeah.
basically we can do a live price comparison as well. So when a user comes in, you
Hmm.
can compare actually multiple different cross-chain services versus L1X, and you can see, there are
Hmm.
certain things like, okay, from BSC to Matic, who is providing what is the transaction fee, how much time does it take to do the
Mm,
swap. So there is a live analytics as well over here for the gas fee.
nice. Nice, very cool. So do you have some library in the docs where you define all the APIs where builder can actually
Yeah,
take?
so we have, basically
Oh,
if you
nice.
just go to the swap APIs, right, you can generate an API key, and then there is a Postman collection where you can, have the all your APIs for the direct swap in the collection.
Hmm. Nice. So can actually people. Okay, you touched on credit scoring as a wish list. Any other kind of use case that you will love to see?
Yeah, I think if we just go back to the hackathon, right, and you see there is a $2 million prize here, there is more. So there is DeFi related stuff as well over here, right? One of the other thing that we would love to see is, wallet profiling systems where, users coming in and having the ability to, allow anyone, access the NFT card, right? So your
Hmm.
NFT card is going to be integrated where you can share the data with somebody else. So we would love to see use cases around DeFi solutions. Like it could be just
Hmm.
focusing on, has this user borrowed any money, has he lended back the money. It could be just around something like that where
Mm,
multiple projects can tap into a single resource, because right now there isn't a single resource that we can access and profile it, except you
agree.
collecting data through Nansen or a Dune analytics and then creating your own space
Yes.
after it.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
but
sense.
initially,
Uh,
sorry, yeah,
mhm,
but initially I would just mention that if you're a developer, you just get started with the EVM based contract, because even
mhm,
considering the fees, right, we fall under like something like Harmony, that's like
mhm,
0.0001 dollar per transaction, even if you're using
mhm,
EVM.
mhm.
So that's where we want to push people to go and try out the EVM with the ability to go multi chain if they decide to do that.
Nice, nice. And Kevin, like question, you spoke about kind of the EVM side, but what's your take on agent-to-agent coordination? Like, do you have some specific take, or is this too early to speak about?
Yeah, I think initially, what I definitely think is that, in terms of building the reinforcement models where, your contract to contract interaction can happen, I think initially it's, according to me, depending on the use case. For example, as I mentioned, the decentralized identity, right? I think it's prima facie building the infrastructure for that first. For example,
Hmm.
what constitutes a digital ID, we still don't know that yet, if you think about it, right? So if the digital ID is going to go into another agent framework, which could be automatic lending and borrowing, let's say, based on the credit scoring system, I think both of these models are still underdeveloped. Of course, there has to be an open access model, built on Web3, that other agents can access as well based on the permission systems. And
Hmm.
that's where, if you see, the whole tier based system, the space card system, is based on accessing system. We also have something called as access control contracts, right, where you can actually give access to some other ID, and revoke the access to it as well, which can then interact with the AI agent models, or an AI agent model itself can have an access control to a specific account.
Nice, nice. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I love actually the answer. But I think also like on the cross-chain interoperability side is something that first agent will need because the users will never kind of like use and do transaction around cross-chain. Like they will be able to actually like enable this abstraction level for us. And yeah, I know we are almost on time. Any specific kind of like excitement things that are happening around the kind of this layer 1x that you are building. I mean, you drop the alpha around also like the hackathon, the fact you're working with the universities. But are there any other things that you want to share that you're currently building it, and also like things that would be useful for all these AI agent builders out there?
Yeah, I think, the first one, as I would mention, is, we are allowing people to go from one chain to the other using our API systems, and we
Hmm.
are adding more networks to it as well. The other one is, we are building a plug and play model for, enabling projects to go on multiple different networks and manage
Hmm.
the token supply, from a single chain itself, without being, without making it too complex. The number three, I would mention, is that, of course, the hackathon is going to push the EVM development. There's a launchpad coming up, there's a arbitrage
Hmm.
bot coming up. But from the upgrade perspective, where, our focus for the next 5 years is going to be upon, the multi-chain interoperable roll-up mechanism, right, where a quantum based anchor model is built, so that, we can not only do we facilitate the multi-chain development for projects, but also we look at the infrastructure from future perspective, saying that if tomorrow the governments, or, one of, if enterprises wants to go multi-chain, bridges are not the answer. So what
Mm.
is the answer to that, right?
Mm.
Maybe intent based systems are good for DeFi products, but
Hmm.
what is the holistic answer that
That's true.
they can anchor upon, saying that, which is quantum proof, which actually allows them customizability, which allows them control over certain things, and they can use that tech. So we are on the pathway. We are taking one firm step at a time to build things, showcase it to our users. And again, we've got, more than 500,000 community members across all our socials. We are doing, millions of transactions on the network. There are projects being built, but again, it's taking that one firm step at a time and defining our place in this space.
Nice, nice. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. I mean, Kevin is great. Any anything specifically to the ecosystem? Any closing word to see like, okay, this is something that we need to solve in the next, I don't know, like 3 to 6 months. In order, I mean, I know cross-chain interoperability is something very important, but for the builders hearing us, like, is there some kind of like main use case that you see this is something that we need to solve in order to get there?
Yeah, I think the first step is enabling projects to go onto multiple networks in a way
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it makes sense economically, and them being able to tap into the liquidity, right? And I think it's a pathway to list on a tier one exchange for any projects building out there as well. So our focus is, at the moment, less than 1% of the projects have their token. So our focus is taking that 1% and making it 10% in the next 12 months, and enabling layer 1x to be the base chain of them issuing their coin and then having their tokens onto the other networks. And for developers wanting to start, I think, just if you can go to l1xapp.com, go to the developer section, get started with the
Mhm.
hackathon, have a look at the git book, or, where we have step by step, videos as well on how you can build and deploy a multi-chain application. I think that's a great place to start.
Nice, nice. I mean, yeah, you said it. So how people can reach out to you? I mean, you say the L1X app, we got it. Any other kind of like main resources or like you have some tutorials where people can follow?
Yeah, I think.
Like, and are those tutorial in the docs?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you just go to l1xapp.com, each and every link is provided in there. But if you just follow our Twitter as well at layer1x and our Discord, I think you'll be updated about all the just go to l1xapp.com. You have the white paper as well over there. You can actually try the tech itself. Maybe you spend 50 cents and try to do the swap. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Nice, 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 nice. Okay, sounds good. I mean, Kevin, thank you so much. I think we are on time. We would love to get you also like on kind of on a part two, maybe even like before like ECC or kind of like any other conference. But I think thank you so much for having you. That's all for today around agent intelligence. Again, kind of Kevin, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to also to send up some links to the community here. We also like following up to some newsletter, and we also like push a full recording into the mother, I think, YouTube. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Also, I see the chat super, super energetic. I think a lot of people are really like pushing hard and seeing a very value differentiator around L1X. So I think that's definitely a good sign. And I think the hackathon that is happening is also like a very healthy sign of building resilience community. And Kevin and team, amazing job there. So also for the other people out there, if you're building an agent, if you're hacking on this hackathon and you want to show afterwards what you build, we officially kind of like launch. We have a full modern Discord where you can actually present your agent, and you can actually come on those live streams and present what you build. And I will share here, by the way, the link. So if there are already like builders that actually are interested to present something and show, we're all definitely pushing the narrative here. And thanks everybody. And yeah, probably looking for the next time. And Kevin, thank you so much. I don't know if there will be another ETH Sydney or another Australian blockchain week, but I'm definitely looking forward to meet you
Yeah,
face to
same
face
here.
soon. Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
same here.
Okay.
Same here. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks, thanks, Kevin. Thanks everyone for watching.